By 2050, the world map of power will look nothing like it does today. And the wars being fought right now in Ukraine and Gaza and the South China Sea are already deciding who wins. We are not watching chaos unfold. We are watching a transfer of power in real time. And most people have no idea it's happening. Today, we're going to break down exactly which countries will be superpowers by 2050. And more importantly, why. Not theories, not wishful thinking. The hard, uncomfortable truth about where global power is heading. Let's get into it. For the last 30 years, the world has operated under one assumption. America is the undisputed superpower, and everyone else plays by its rules. That era is ending. What we're entering is called a multipolar world, a world where multiple nations hold enormous military, economic, and cultural power simultaneously. Think of it less like a king on a throne and more like a table of dangerous players in a very high-stakes poker game. And war, real war, proxy war, economic war, and cyber war, is the card that reshuffles the deck faster than anything else. It destroys old powers and creates new ones overnight. So when we ask who will be a superpower by 2050, we have to ask a harder question first. Who survives what's coming? Let's start with the obvious one. China has been positioning itself for superpower dominance for decades, and it's closer than most Western media will admit. Militarily, China has the world's largest navy by number of ships. It's been militarizing islands in the South China Sea, building hypersonic missiles, and investing aggressively in space and cyber warfare. The Taiwan situation is not just a regional dispute. It is the single flashpoint most likely to trigger a global conflict before 2030. If China takes Taiwan, by force or by political pressure, it doesn't just gain an island. It gains the world's most advanced semiconductor industry. And it signals to every nation on Earth that the old American-led world order is officially over. Economically, China's Belt and Road Initiative has quietly given it leverage over more than 140 countries through infrastructure loans, port ownership, and debt diplomacy. Critics call it soft power colonialism, and honestly, that's not far off. But here's China's hidden vulnerability. Its population is aging and shrinking. By 2050, China will be dealing with a demographic crisis that could undermine everything it's built. Whether China can become a superpower before its demographics become a death sentence is the defining race of the 21st century. Russia is a fascinating and tragic case. On paper, it's still a nuclear superpower, the largest country on Earth, with enormous natural resources and a permanent UN Security Council seat. In reality, the Ukraine war has exposed just how hollow that power has become. Russia's military, once feared as the second greatest fighting force in the world, has struggled badly in Ukraine. It has burned through equipment, ammunition, and personnel at rates that shocked military analysts. Western sanctions have crippled parts of its economy. Brain drain is accelerating as young Russians flee military conscription. So, what is Russia's play? Chaos. Russia's greatest strategic asset now is its ability to destabilize through disinformation, cyber attacks, energy blackmail, and nuclear brinkmanship. It doesn't need to win wars. It needs to make the world ungovernable enough that its enemies can't focus on containing it. Russia's long-term bet is on its deepening partnership with China. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Russia is increasingly the junior partner in that relationship, a nation with nukes and oil but shrinking leverage. By 2050, Russia is more likely to be a regional spoiler than a true global superpower. If there is one country that could genuinely surprise the world by 2050, it is India. And the reason is remarkably simple. India is doing the opposite of China and Russia on demographics. While they age and shrink, India is young, growing, and hungry. India is already the most populous country on Earth. By 2050, it will have the largest workforce in human history. Hundreds of millions of working-age people entering a global economy that desperately needs labor, manufacturing, and technical skill. But what makes India truly dangerous as a rising power is its foreign policy genius, strategic autonomy. India buys weapons from Russia, it trades with China, it partners with the United States. It refuses to be owned by anyone. In a fractured world, that kind of independence is worth more than any alliance. Its military is already nuclear armed, increasingly modernized, and battle-hardened by persistent tensions with both China and Pakistan along some of the most dangerous borders on Earth. India will not become a superpower by copying America or China. It will become one by being irreplaceable to everyone simultaneously. Indonesia is one of the most underrated nations on Earth. It sits at the center of the Indo-Pacific, the most strategically important waterway in the world. It has a young population of nearly 300 million people, and it has been quietly building economic and military power for 2 decades. Watch this country closely. Africa is the next frontier of global power, and Nigeria is its potential capital. By 2050, Nigeria could have a population approaching 400 million people, making it one of the most populous nations on Earth. The continent's GDP is projected to surge, Africa holds a massive share of the world's rare earth minerals, the building blocks of modern technology and military hardware. Whoever controls African resources in 2050 will have a decisive strategic advantage. Brazil controls something every nation will be fighting over by 2050: food and fresh water. As climate change reshapes global agriculture, Brazil's agricultural dominance, its vast Amazon basin, and its energy independence could make it a pivotal power, not through military might, but through the oldest form of power there is: resources. Let's be clear, the United States is not going away, by almost every measure. Military spending, technological innovation, cultural influence, reserve currency dominance. America will still be the single most powerful nation on Earth in 2050. But the margin is shrinking and the costs are rising. Every major war the U.S. involves itself in, Ukraine, the Middle East, Taiwan deterrence, drains money, political will, and global credibility. More dangerously, America's greatest threat is internal. Political fracture, institutional distrust, and social division are the vulnerabilities that no missile defense system can fix. History is clear. Great powers are not usually conquered from the outside. They rot from within. The question for America in 2050 is not whether it can defeat China or Russia militarily. It almost certainly can. The question is whether it can maintain the domestic cohesion required to project power at all. Here's the brutal truth that textbooks don't like to say out loud. War is the fastest engine of power transfer in human history. It destroys old orders and creates new ones. And the wars coming before 2050 are not just about territory. They are about the foundations of future power. The next resource wars will be fought over water, food, rare earth minerals, and semiconductors, the materials that power every weapon, every phone, every AI system, and every electric vehicle on Earth. The countries that secure these resources will have leverage that no army can overcome. Nuclear proliferation is accelerating. More countries are seeking nuclear deterrence because they've watched what happens to nations that give up their nuclear programs. They get invaded. The calculus is changing how wars are fought and how power is projected. And perhaps most importantly, AI and cyber warfare are democratizing destruction. A relatively small nation with elite hackers and AI-powered weapon systems can now punch far above its weight. The monopoly on violence is fracturing, and that changes everything. So here's where we land. By 2050, the most likely scenario is a world with three dominant superpowers: the United States, China, and India. Not in a comfortable balance, in a constant, grinding competition for resources, allies, technology, and influence. Russia will remain a nuclear-armed disruptor, too dangerous to ignore, too weakened to dominate. Indonesia, Nigeria, and Brazil will emerge as the decisive swing powers, the countries that the big three will compete to court. And war, in all its forms, will continue to be the mechanism by which this new order is enforced, challenged, and redrawn. What does this mean for you? It means the decisions being made in military briefing rooms and government offices today will shape the world your children grow up in. It means that understanding geopolitics is no longer optional. It's survival literacy. The world is not becoming more dangerous because humans are more violent. It's becoming more dangerous because the stakes have never been higher, the weapons have never been more powerful, and the old rules are being rewritten in real time. Pay attention. The 2050 world is already being built, one conflict at a time.